Hello, 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 everyone. I see we've got some people on already. That's awesome. Thank you very much for joining us today. I am so excited. I've got so much to say, so much to share. We finally got to the point where it's all out there. It's all out there for you guys to see. So I'm really looking forward to explaining, the new store, our new shop is open, talking about some of the features in regards to our design, talking about why we made this thing and who it's really for, and who it's not really for. And also just talking about the updates that we've made. We've got a lot of stuff going on. This is not your typical product launch. We are not going out on Amazon and just shipping this out to, thousands of people. We've got a different approach, and I'm really looking forward to talking about that and sharing more. So I'm just gonna give people a few more seconds just to get in. I'm gonna switch my screen around a little bit too and get prepared for this next part. There we go. There we go. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions while we're going through, because you probably will, I'm going to cover, some good stuff today. There probably will be questions. If you haven't had the chance to go to our website yet, the website's been updated and the shop is now open. So you can after this live, you can go in, check it out. And if you have any questions that don't get answered today, it's all good because we're going to be doing more of these every week. So next Monday, we'll have another live at 5 p.m. So a few more people are joining in. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to get started and get going in just a minute, but give people a few more minutes to get in. I'll talk about what I've got showing on the screen. So on the left-hand side of the screen is our animation. This was something that was put together by some local people here in Massachusetts. I'll give them a shout out. That's Lady Jane Branding. Awesome company helped me to get this together. We also have a lot of videos that show our actual plant working as well. We've got time-lapse videos on our YouTube channel, but we wanted to put something together that would show you kind of how it works from beginning to end. And it moves kind of fast, but basically it's showing you how it works. It starts on one end, works its way all the way over to the right. When you get to the end, you simply take off that apex ring, which is that green ring, and you let all those branches just stretch up to the light. So that's how it works. And then on the right, we've got a picture of me in front of our actual live unit. So we've built 5 of these versions. This is our 5th version. But before I get into, too much of the details of the design and the version, I want to talk, quite frankly about who this is actually made for. What TrellaGrow is designed to do, what it's not designed to do. I want to be very, very clear. Now that we're out on social media, we get a lot of comments, a lot of feedback. And I wanted to just be clear that TrellaGroLST is an automated horizontal plant training system. It's not made for people that are outdoor growing. Outdoor growers, this is not designed for you. If you are someone that has the ability to manually train your plants, this is not designed for you. Now, manual training, people have been doing that for centuries, millennia. So training plants is not new. And I don't want to, pretend as if automated plant training is something that's creating something, 100% totally new. No, we're automating an old method, an old process. So this is really designed for people that aren't around every day or every other day to maintain their plants. This is not designed for those people that are really great at training their plants and have the time, the ability, and the skill to stick around and be there in their grow every day to train their plants. So I just want to be clear about that. This is really designed for people who need more time. They don't have the ability to be with their plants as much as they possibly would like to, or maybe even they're growing in a remote location, in a location where you're not able to get there all the time. And that was really, one of the things that I was dealing with myself personally as a medical cannabis patient. I was growing in my basement, but I traveled a lot. I was out of the house several days a week, sometimes for weeks at a time, and just could not stay on top of my grow. And every time I needed to travel, it was always at that transitional time where I really wanted and needed to be with my plant. So I was up against it trying to figure out how do I maintain my plants to stop them from growing into all of the lights, and got together with an engineering friend of mine and said, maybe there's a way that we can design a solution. Now, that was working on this for quite some time. If you're new to what we're about at Trella Technologies, I may have even forgotten to, introduce myself, but my name is Aja. I'm one of 2 co-founders. My other co-founder, his name is Dre. We're both engineers. and I'm the cannabis patient, cannabis grower, and decided let's try to figure out a way to solve the solution. And as we started talking to other people, we found out we're not the only people in this boat. There's a lot of people that want to grow, but they've got families, so they're not able to, to take the time to keep on top of their grow, or they have jobs that are pretty demanding, or just other things that they prefer to do. There's also the people who just don't really, enjoy it. It's not their thing. They need cannabis for medicine, maybe, but growing is not really their thing. We're here to help people out with that. So that's one of the reasons why we do a lot of education. We go to a lot of events and talk about that type of stuff, is because we understand that there's some people that might need what it is that we have to offer. So with all that being said, just want to be clear, TrellaGroLST is made for people who need help. They don't have the time, they don't have the skill, or they may be remote. They may not be close enough to their grow. That's who we designed this for. It's automated. It's also designed for people who are trying to grow tall plants in short spaces, trying to get those taller varieties of cannabis strains indoors, trying to get trees and more bushier plants indoors. If you're able to grow outdoors, this is not for you. If you have the ability to grow all types of plants, outside because you have access to great land, that's awesome, and that's, the way that, the way that nature really wants it to be. No hate on outdoor growing. Outdoor growing is primary, but there are some people that need help with indoor growing. There are people that don't have access to, a lot of land, and there are people that live in urban areas where it's just too tight, and you got to figure out a way to get things indoors. So that's who this is for. People that are growing indoors and are growing tall plants in short, small spaces, tight areas where they're having a hard time controlling their plant, or even having a hard time getting into their plant to maintain it, because that's another problem that people have sometimes too. If you see vertical farms where they got multiple levels, how are people getting in and training those plants? So to be able to do something that's automated, that takes care of the majority of the work for you, is what we were going after. I really talk a lot about, time, but it's really saving you time times two. I like to say time times two. It's helping you out with time in two different ways. One, it's automated, so you don't have to be with your grow as much as you normally would have to. I would say for myself, when I'm growing the plant that you're seeing on the screen right now, when I'm growing this plant, I'm in there once every, week, 10 days, maybe. Sometimes, I'm very busy and I'm not able to be with it as much as I want to. So I can get away with not getting in there, 7 to 10 days. And when I am in there, all I'm doing is I'm just removing, leaves that are starting to turn brown. And that's not a lot of them. It's just the natural growth of the plant. From time to time, you need to remove some leaves. So I use the 50% rule. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the 50% rule is if the leaves on your plant are browning by more than 50%, then it's pretty much safe for you to be able to take that leaf off. So that's the rule that I use. So I go in there and I look for leaves that are browning. It may take me about 15 minutes, every 7 to 10 days. That's not that much. That's tolerable. You can go on a trip, you can come back and forth, and maintain that. In the majority of cases, I'm in my lab really to maintain other things, like making sure that my pH is still okay. We have an automated control on the pH, but you never know. I always like to double check it. We've got, water and nutrients that we have to refresh and refill from time to time. That takes time. But overall, I don't spend a lot of time training my plants with this new setup. So I'm really enjoying it and hoping that other people will enjoy it too. So it's really designed for people who need more time, less time in the grow, maintaining your plants. Not because you don't love it, but because you're just not able to do it. The other thing that it helps out when it comes to time, so I'm talking about time times two is how we're saving. We're saving you time times two. The other thing to talk about when it comes to time is that, because it's using what's called a low stress training technique. So TrellaGroLST stands for low stress training. So because we're using a low stress training technique, which really means we're not trimming, we're not pruning, we're not cutting the plant. Whenever you trim, cut, or prune your plant, or even just, do a method called super cropping, if you're, excessively bending your plant, you cause it a good amount of stress, so much stress that it actually decides to slow down its growth to figure out what should it be doing next. So, stress is good, but only to a certain extent. Just like in life, a little bit of stress is good, but not too much. So we use a low stress training technique where we're really just holding the plant at one end and then moving the top of the plant all the way to the other, as you can see on our animation. So, that's how we're saving you time times two. Automated so that you don't have to, maintain, and we're also using a low stress training technique so that we're not causing high stress, which leads to shorter, which leads to, the plant actually stunting its growth and takes longer time for you to go through that veg cycle. So for those of you that are trying to scrub monster plants, especially if you've got plant count limitations and you're trying to figure out a way to make the most out of each individual plant that you have, this is a solution for you as well. I know that there are a lot of growers out there that are trying to scrog their plants out, then they only have 6 to 12 plants that they're allowed to actually have on premise. So in order to get the most out of their plant, they're trying to scrog it out by a 4 foot or a 4 foot, area. That takes a lot of time, especially if you're topping, time and time again. Every time you top, you cause a little bit of stress. When you stress your plant, you slow down the growth. When you slow down the growth, it takes you longer to get to that harvest period. So we're using low stress to try to reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to grow your plants. That's something else that we want to talk about. But you see how it works. Starts on one side, over time slowly grows to the other. As the plant grows, there are sensors within that are sensing the rate of growth so that it's moving depending on how fast you grow, which means if your plant is a strain that happens to grow a little bit slower, it can pick up on that. If you're growing in soil, or it tends to be a little slower as well than if you were growing, with aeroponics, it'll pick up on that as well. So one thing I did also want to mention is that, as you can see right here, we've got a soil pot, something that looks sort of like, a soil container growing down there. But you can also use this for a hydroponic tray. You can also use it for an aeroponic tray as well. So there are, height adjustable legs on this. And I want to kind of show you, before I get into that, let me just make sure I'm not jumping over my topics too fast here. And if you have any questions, feel free to, jump right in. I'm checking comments from time to time. My apologies if I'm not able to see them, but I'm trying to check your comments, so feel free to pop them in. So just want to show very quickly the old design and our new design and talk about some of the features and modifications that we've made to this. So on the left, I'll put the old design, on the right, the new. And we actually made several design changes based on the feedback that we got from you. So thank you very much for letting us know how you feel. We went to NECAN, we went to the Harvest Cup, we talked to people, during and after that event and got some input. And one of the things, and this is our old design on the right, one of the things that people were concerned about was, how do I get access to the plant when you've got this panel down there? So on our new design, we removed that panel. So you got a lot more access to your grow medium. Let's put this up there. And then the other thing that we wanted to add was to give it a little bit more, modification, the ability to be able to adjust it, I should say. So you're able to raise and lower the height of this, by about 6 inches one way or the other in order to get different types of containers in there. So if you've got a soil pot that's very high, you can fit it in there. If you've got a hydroponic tray that sits very low, you can fit that in there as well. So that's another feature that we wanted to put in there, and we were glad we were able to squeeze that in. And then the other thing, I don't know if you can see here, but I'll zoom in just a bit. You can see on this model, so on this model here, we've got standard feet, that we call them just standard feet. And then on the model over here, we've got what we call extra wide support. So you can, and we're actually offering these for free. So that's the thing about our shop, because we just launched it, because it's new, there's a low introductory price. We're giving a lot of things away for free. We've got a lot of discounts as well. I'll talk about that soon. But one of the things is a feature called extra wide support. So if you're trying to sit this on open rack shelves, so if you're trying to fit it in a shelving system that's got open grid, so there's not a flat, complete surface, you're going to need something a bit more substantial than the standard feet. We got you covered. We put extra wide supports on there. You can also use these if you're going to sit the unit within a hydroponic tray. So if you use hydroponic systems or you use a hydroponic tray, maybe just to, catch runoff, you'll notice that in your hydroponic tray, there are little ridges. It's not a flat surface. So we changed the feet so that they could sit on that rigid surface and you don't have to worry about it being unstable. Again, that's a free option for limited time. So we're just giving people, the upgrade for free. So I just wanted to show people that there have been changes. If you go back to our YouTube channel, you'll see the very first live videos that we did. And you'll get kind of a sense for where we started to where we are right now, over the period of a little bit over, a year and a half. Again, thrilled to share this. If you guys have any questions, now's the time. Feel free to drop it in the chat. Just change this one more time. Here we go. So again, definitely make sure that you go to our website, check out the shop. If you haven't had the chance to do it, there's some things that you're going to want to look out for, some things that I want to talk about. The first one is we're offering a 150-day free trial for your first purchase. So if you purchase a TrellaGroLST and you want to enjoy your first harvest and you're not, it's a new device, it's a new technology, you want to check it out. You want to make sure that it's right for you. It's all good. We're allowing people to try it out for their first harvest for free. If you don't like it, it's all good. Let us know. We'll come back. We'll collect it. The other thing is that we're offering discounts for U.S. veterans. Thank you very much for your service. We also understand that a lot of veterans are using hemp, CBD, and cannabis to treat themselves for a variety of different things. We want to make sure that you have access to things that will help you, grow for yourself or maintain your own grow. So if you're a U.S. veteran, please go to our website. You'll see a link there. You can click on that link. All we ask is just for your VA ID, and we will take off an additional 10% off of your order. And that is not for a limited time. That is for the duration of our sale. So that we got you covered on that. The other thing to talk about is how we're actually delivering them. It's not your typical product launch. Like I said before, we're only coming to 4 cities right now throughout the U.S. And those 4 cities are Worcester, Massachusetts, Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, and Oklahoma City. We're coming to you, and we're offering delivery within those states. So if you're in the state of Massachusetts, Illinois, Michigan, or Oklahoma, we got you covered. We're going to be able to deliver to you. Now, if you don't happen to live within those states, it's okay. You can contact us, and if we can get enough orders within your state, we can try to figure something out. Also, if anyone's free to come to an event, no matter where you live. So if you happen to live close enough to one of those cities, but you're in a different state, it's all good. You can still order a unit. And what we're doing at the events is we're making sure that we introduce the TrellaGroLST to you as a first-time buyer. We're going to be walking you through tips and tricks, things that I've learned. And what I'm really looking forward to is also getting feedback on what you plan to do with it. We're going to have different contests as well, so stay tuned for that. And we're going to be sharing a lot of that during those events. So you definitely want to make sure that that if you're able to get to those events, make sure that you do. It'll be definitely worth your while. And at the event, you'll be able to pick up your Trella unit for free of charge. If you're not able to pick it up, it's all good. We got options for you as well. But go to the website, check it out. There's a lot in there. There's a lot about that 150-day free trial. There's a lot about our different payment options. We've got 2 different ways, and we really tried to figure out a way that we could, get this to the point where people were able to reserve their unit, without, having to put down, a huge deposit. So we have a payment plan option that's a little bit more friendly. Check that out as well. And please make sure to give us your feedback. Feel free to ask questions on this comment, on this live, or during our next live, which will be next Monday. Or if you just want to email us, I'm putting in our email address right now. So feel free to shoot us an email if you want as well, and we can answer your questions. But again, thrilled to really get this off the ground, get it going. Wanted to just make it clear. So if you're just coming in, if you're just joining, please go back to the recording. I tried to make sure that people understand what is TrellaGroLST designed for? Who is it designed for? We talked about how it works. We talked about some of the design updates and the design features. We talked about discounts and different things that you can do in regards to how you pick up or receive your delivery. We talked about the 150-day free trial. So if you're just joining us, it's all good. You can go back, check the recording. But if you want to stick around for the next live, I will see you next Monday at 5 p.m. EST. Thank you very much. Peace and love.